Dear Chosen One, you may not know, but right now, there is something, or someone, feeding off your light. It doesn't matter if you're alone, in silence, or surrounded by people who say they love you. If your soul is tired, your mind is confused, your creativity is blocked, and your vital energy is diminished, then know this: you are being drained. The worst part is that this happens invisibly, sneakily, while you keep trying to heal everyone, while forgetting about yourself. This video is not just a warning, it is a ritual of liberation. Because the truth is harsh, but necessary. Not every hug warms, some suck. Not every company is protection. Some are parasites, disguised as affection. There are entities that do not have their own light. That's why they need yours. And they connect to you through traumas, fears, distractions, and emotional ties you haven't had the courage to cut yet. They feed off your essence, your shine, your purpose. And sometimes they are not even spiritual entities, but physical people, incarnate beings who act like silent vampires. They are presences that suck your energy without you realizing, leaving only emptiness, heaviness, and stagnation. But now you will see. You will recognize the signs. You will cut the hidden cords connecting your soul to what is consuming it. And you will reclaim everything that is rightfully yours. If you are hearing this, it's no coincidence. It's because the moment to break free has arrived. The moment to recognize who has been living off you, and to seal the portals that kept you trapped. In this video, you will discover how these parasites settle in, how to recognize the symptoms of being drained, and, above all, how to break free. Your light is not meant to be sucked. It is meant to illuminate. But first, you need to learn to protect it. Stay with me until the end and prepare for a revelation that could completely change your vibration. This is where the healing begins. This is where the cut happens. But before continuing, take a moment to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications to continue receiving the truths that will strengthen you on this journey. Also, write in the comments the number 777 to affirm that you are reclaiming your identity and freeing yourself from false narratives, manifesting to the universe that your energy is protected by the divine mantle. There are presences that approach you not to support you, but to feed off your light. They don't come with threats or direct violence. They disguise themselves as affection, care, attention. But when you distance yourself, you feel guilty. When you try to grow, they pull you back. These are silent spiritual connections, where your energy is drained quietly, without leaving a trace. And this doesn't only happen with difficult or obviously toxic people. Sometimes it's loved ones, family members, old loves, who unknowingly become channels through which invisible forces drain your essence. What seems like affection can sometimes be an energetic prison disguised, and what seems like care can be control. These spiritual parasites, visible or invisible, connect to your wounds, not your strength. They don't enter where there is sovereignty, but where there is doubt, trauma, fear, or emotional dependence. When you were hurt, abandoned, or rejected in the past, a portal was opened. And if this portal isn't consciously closed, it stays active, working as an entryway for entities that feed off your vital light. They enter your thoughts, your dreams, your relationships, and without realizing it, you wake up every day more tired, more anxious, more disconnected from who you really are. This draining is slow, progressive, and silent. And that's exactly why almost no one notices it until it's too late. And here's something no one told you. The spiritual enemy doesn't always scream, doesn't always manifest through attacks. Often it whispers, manipulates, smiles. It adapts to your weaknesses, changes its face, and hides in what you haven't healed yet. That's why specific people activate your insecurities, awaken your guilt, and keep you stuck in repeating cycles. These relationships are not coincidences. They are unresolved spiritual contracts. Bonds made in times of pain that continue to connect you to suffering until today. As long as these bonds exist, your energy will continue to be diverted, and your mission will keep being delayed. The draining doesn't only manifest spiritually, it becomes physical. It turns into unexplained tiredness, creative blocks, procrastination that seems impossible to overcome. You begin to doubt yourself, lose motivation, forget your own dreams. And the most dangerous thing is that when you try to explain this state to others, no one understands. They say it's just laziness or drama. But deep down, you know something is wrong, and it's not just emotional. There's a deep exhaustion, as if someone had turned off your connection to Source. And the truth is, they really did, but not completely. Just enough for you to continue existing without truly living. In many cases, these parasites also manifest as patterns. You attract the same types of people, face the same frustrations, live the same failures. And no matter how much you try to change on the outside, if the root is still alive inside, it keeps growing. What these parasites want is exactly this: for you to feel stuck in an endless cycle. Because while you are confused, distracted, or emotionally shaken, they keep feeding. That's why breaking this cycle requires more than willpower. It requires awareness. It requires presence. It requires a radically honest look at who you've allowed into your field and why. And perhaps the cruelest part of all this is realizing that, throughout this draining process, you kept giving. You kept being generous, trying to help, trying to heal others. And that's exactly what the parasites want most. A chosen one full of light, who doesn't realize they're giving themselves away little by little. The gift of empathy, when unprotected, becomes a curse. Because you feel the pain of others, carry their burdens, and forget to look at your own soul. This dynamic needs to end. The chosen one didn't come to be a martyr. They came to be a channel of healing. But healing doesn't happen in environments that steal your energy. When you get closer to your mission, the parasites start to stir. They know they are losing access. They feel the cut before it even happens. And that's why they create distractions, emotional crises, people who reappear out of nowhere, triggers that seem from the past. All of this is part of the last attempt to keep you trapped. But now you are waking up. You are seeing. And when the chosen one sees, no darkness can remain nearby. The beginning of liberation isn't cutting the bond. It's recognizing it exists. Because the truth sets you free. And once you see it, there's no unseeing it. There are invisible forces that not only observe you, but wait for the exact moment when your vibration lowers to connect with you. They roam your frequency like silent predators. They are not interested in your body, but in your soul. And when you dive into deep sadness, into silent addictions, into distractions that numb the pain, you are not just escaping reality. You are opening portals. It is in these moments that these entities enter. And the most dangerous part is that they don't need permission. All they need is for you to emotionally abandon yourself. Every negative thought cultivated, every repressed feeling, every relationship held together by attachment becomes a thread connecting you to these presences. These threads are not visible to the naked eye, but they are felt on your skin, in your mood, in your sleep, in your health. You feel a constant weight on your chest, difficulty breathing deeply, restlessness even in silent environments. Sometimes, you wake up more tired than when you went to bed, and it's no coincidence. Your body is being used as an energetic channel during sleep. Your field is vulnerable, and if you don't protect yourself, don't clean, don't monitor your frequency, you end up becoming a free source of light for entities that only exist because you shine. The painful irony is, the more special you are, the more desired you become by forces that cannot exist without you. This type of draining also manifests in the mind. Repetitive thoughts, doubts that come out of nowhere, an exaggerated fear of making decisions, procrastination that seems impossible to overcome. All of this are symptoms of mental parasites, entities that feed on your emotional imbalance and do everything to keep you from advancing. Because every step you take is a disconnection. Every awakening is a rupture. And for them, your expansion represents death. That's why, when you try to change, everything suddenly seems to go wrong. People pull away, crises arise, loneliness increases. But all of this are spiritual tests to show you who is truly by your side with love, and who was just there for access. Chosen one. Not all wars are fought with swords. Some battles are fought in the silence of the soul. They are fought when you decide to say no without guilt, when you cut a bond without justifying yourself, when you close a door knowing that only darkness existed there. Spiritual liberation is a process that starts within and reflects on the outside. Don't wait for the world to change before you protect yourself. Protect yourself now, and watch the world around you transform. Because when you change your frequency, those who fed off it can no longer remain. It's like cutting the oxygen from a system that only survived on your energy. It begins to collapse. Draining also happens through speech. Yes, there are people who talk to you not to communicate, but to suck your energy. They are conversations that leave you exhausted, dialogues that make you doubt yourself, words full of envy, competition, judgment, or drama. All of this forms energetic cords, and every time you emotionally engage, respond with anger, or try to justify yourself, these cords strengthen. The way out is not to respond. It is not to feed them. Silence becomes sacred. Indifference becomes a sword. When you don't react, you break the cycle. And by breaking the cycle, you break the spell. Many times, the parasites take on forms so familiar that it's hard to recognize them. They dress in neediness, in the necessity for help, in incomplete love. They cry, beg, make you feel needed. But be careful. True love liberates. It doesn't suck. True affection doesn't demand constant sacrifice. When a relationship requires that you annul who you are, abandon your dreams, distance yourself from your peace, it is not love. It is a parasitic contract. And breaking that contract is painful, but necessary. Because your soul was not made to be drained. It was made to shine, to expand, to serve, but never to be extinguished because of someone else. Don't be fooled. These parasites know exactly what you carry. They recognize your shine before you even know it exists. That's why you were attacked so early on. That's why you were rejected, diminished, silenced. Because even when you couldn't see your worth, they already did. And if you're still here, it's because your light hasn't been extinguished. It still pulses. It still resists. But now it's time to do things differently. To protect what is yours. To guard your field as one would guard a temple. Because that's what you are. A living temple. and no parasite should dwell where the divine manifests. Have you noticed how certain people appear just when you're about to take an important step? How, when you start to align with your mission, old contacts reappear, past situations return, and distractions gain strength. This is not a coincidence. It's an energetic attack disguised as chance. These presences are activated as spiritual alarms by the forces that watch you. They feel when your light rises, and they do everything to interrupt that ascension. That's why you need to observe the patterns. Who appears when you start healing? Who tries to make you doubt when you decide to move forward? The answer to what drains you often lies in what keeps coming back. Every time you stop listening to yourself to please someone, you offer a part of your energy. Every time you stay silent when you should take a stand, you weaken your field. Every yes said out of fear, every no swallowed by guilt, every relationship maintained out of neediness. All of this are unconscious energy donations, and the problem is not donating. It's donating without awareness. It's giving your light without knowing who's receiving it. Parasites take advantage of these gaps. They feed off your poorly channeled kindness, and they turn your compassion into chains. But when you learn to direct your energy wisely, the cycle of exploitation starts to break down. All the time, you are telling the universe who can enter your life based on what you tolerate. If you tolerate being manipulated, drained, devalued, the universe understands that it is still acceptable to you. And so, more of the same is sent. But the opposite is also true. When you stand firm, step away, protect yourself, when you make it clear that your peace is a priority, the universe responds with silence, healing, and revelations. The parasites begin to dissolve because your frequency no longer recognizes them as part of it. Change doesn't have to be loud, but it needs to be real. And it has to start with you, always with you. There's a spiritual truth that few have the courage to accept. Not everyone will go with you to the next level. Not all connections can withstand the healed version of the chosen one. Because many of these relationships only existed because you were wounded. And when you heal, the contract dissolves. That's why, as you evolve, you lose friendships, end relationships, distance yourself from family. But understand this, it's not loss, it's cleansing. It's the universe responding to your silent command that you are ready for a new cycle. A cycle without parasites. A cycle where your light is no longer drained and finally begins to expand. Chosen one, you need to remember that your energy is spiritual gold. And gold is not handed out to anyone. What you feel, what you think, what you emanate. All of this is too precious to be wasted in relationships that don't elevate you. Every conversation has a price. Every touch has a consequence. Every person you allow into your field leaves a trace. That's why you must filter, observe, protect. It's not selfishness. It's spiritual survival. Because in this world, those who don't know how to protect their light will be used by those who live in the shadow. And you were not born to be used. You were born to rule. And here's a revelation that could change everything. Parasites have no light of their own. They only exist because you exist. They have no access to the divine. That's why they feed off those who carry the divine within them. They don't create. They only copy. They don't illuminate. They only reflect. They don't live. They only survive. And the only way to defeat them is to stop feeding them. This requires emotional discipline, mental vigilance, and spiritual courage. But above all, it requires a decision. The decision to say, enough. the decision to put yourself first, not out of ego, but out of mission. Your light can no longer serve what only seeks to keep it extinguished. Liberation happens when you understand that you are not here to carry the world on your shoulders. You are here to fulfill a purpose, and that purpose requires lightness, clarity, and energy. Parasites don't fit with mission. And if you keep trying to save what only exists to suck you dry, your mission will be delayed. Your mind will remain confused, and your soul will remain overloaded. But if you cut the cords, free yourself from the shackles, and embrace being a source instead of a victim, everything changes. Because when the chosen one recovers their light, even the heavens move in their favor, and no parasite resists the brilliance of one who has recognized themselves. In many spiritual traditions, including the Bible, the greatest chosen ones faced periods of intense draining. Moses, in the desert, had to deal with the weight of the people who followed him, many of whom were only connected to him out of interest, not faith. Elijah, hidden in the cave, was consumed by spiritual exhaustion after accomplishing great feats. Even Jesus, in Gethsemane, felt the weight of a burden that wasn't solely his. This shows us that even the greatest servants of God faced invisible parasites that drained their energy. The difference is that they recognized what was happening and chose not to carry what wasn't theirs anymore. The same choice is before you now. You can keep trying to save what destroys you, trying to maintain relationships that only exist because you've forgotten about yourself. Or you can choose the cut that hurts in the beginning but heals in the end. Because cutting isn't rejecting, it's honoring your own journey. It's declaring to the universe that you understand your value, and that you will no longer accept being a free source for those who don't plant, don't water, don't nurture your light. Choosing yourself is the first step to healing. It's the first act of real power. And when that decision is made, the invisible reacts. Because where there is sovereignty, there is no space for exploitation. There are spiritual practices that can help you in this process. You don't need complex formulas or elaborate rituals. Sometimes, it all starts with a bath of salt, a sincere prayer, a candle lit with clear intention. Sometimes, it starts with a simple no. A firm decision not to respond, not to insist, not to engage. Because the simple, when done with awareness, is powerful. Spiritual cleansing is not about what you do, but about what you decide to let go of. And the more you let go, the lighter you become. And the lighter you are, the harder it is for any parasite to connect to your vibration. Silence is a spiritual tool that parasites cannot stand. They feed on noise, on conflict, on reaction. When you silence, you disarm. When you refuse to react, you cut the cycle. And in that silence, you hear something that was being drowned out, your own inner voice. This voice knows exactly what needs to be done. It whispers that you are tired because you're trying to carry what isn't yours, that you are becoming sick by holding on to what should have been left behind. This voice is your guide. It's the divine spark that tries every day to remind you, your light is not fuel for anyone. It is a beacon for your own journey. You were programmed to feel responsible for everything, to believe that you need to keep everyone well, even if it destroys you. But that's not compassion. It's control disguised as love. It's spiritual ego that believes that, without you, the world will collapse. And as long as you maintain this pattern, you continue to be food for the forces that benefit from your guilt. But now it's time to break that cycle, to accept that others also have their own path, their own pain, their own choices, and that your only responsibility is with your own light. When you understand this, you stop carrying and you start walking. Light, whole, aligned with your purpose. Yes, you can cut the connection. You can leave the cycle. You can break free from everything that drains you. But it requires firmness. It requires a non-negotiable no. A no that doesn't go back, that doesn't explain itself, that doesn't apologize. A no that is a spiritual decree. Because as long as there are gaps, the parasites will return. They will try to reconnect, make you feel guilty, manipulate you with longing. But you've seen too much to go back. You've felt too much to ignore, and you've suffered too much to keep allowing it. Now it's about protecting, about shielding, about choosing every day to be faithful to your own light, above any attachment. Once you break free, everything starts to change. You feel your body lighter, your mind clearer, your intuition sharper. You start sleeping better, breathing better, realizing that life wasn't heavy. You were carrying what you didn't need. This rebirth comes with a new frequency, a vibration that automatically repels what is not aligned with your mission. You no longer need to run from anything, because now, what drains, you can no longer stay. The light clears the field. And when you shine without fear, no darkness dares to approach. Chosen one, your light has always been your greatest gift. And that's exactly why it became a target. The forces that drain you only exist because you carry something they don't have. Connection to the source. They lurk, waiting for your frequency to drop so they can approach. But the truth is, they fear you. They fear the moment you realize you have the right to cut, to push away, to say enough. They fear that you will embrace your identity and reclaim the throne of your own energy. Because when the chosen one recognizes themselves, they become untouchable. And no parasite survives where there is real presence. Your mission requires clean energy, a clear mind, and a centered soul. There's no more space for carrying bonds that function like invisible chains. You can no longer delay the divine plan entrusted to you out of fear of disappointing those who live off your energy. God didn't choose you to be food. He chose you to be a messenger. And for that, you need to walk light, without unnecessary weights, without unconscious pacts. Every time you say yes to your essence, the universe responds with power. Doors open, paths are revealed, the flow returns. Because the heavens only move when the chosen one stops feeding hell. Now you understand that there is a cycle that needs to be closed. And it's not just about cutting people out. It's about breaking free from old versions of yourself that allowed this access. The greatest parasite is not the other. It's the part of you that still believed you needed to suffer in order to be loved. But that part no longer represents you. It was created in pain. But now you choose healing. You choose to walk in truth. And this choice starts with small acts. A silence where there used to be justifications. A distance where there used to be insistence. Self-care where there used to be neglect. This is rebirth. Do not fear the emptiness that remains after the cut. What seems like absence is, in fact, space. Space for the new, for the true, for the divine. It is in this space that your soul breathes, that your intuition blooms, that your light reorganizes itself. Parasites fear this silence because it is in it that you rebuild yourself. They want noise, chaos, distraction. But now you offer silence, clarity, presence. And this expels them. This dissolves them. Because no entity that depends on your pain survives when you choose peace. And no person who only fed off your giving stands when you stop giving. The spiritual world respects those who respect themselves, and darkness recedes in front of those who walk in truth. You don't need protection when you walk in coherence. You don't need to fear attack when you are whole. Your light is your greatest shield. Your presence is your greatest weapon. But to access it, you need to watch. Thoughts, words, emotions, relationships. Because everything communicates. Everything vibrates. Everything opens or closes portals. And today, you choose to close. Today, you choose to shield yourself not with walls of fear, but with the frequency of truth. Because those who live in truth vibrate high. And those who vibrate high are not accessible to what crawls. Liberation is a process, not an event. It will hurt sometimes. You'll miss those who no longer deserve you. Doubts, fatigue, and the temptation to return to the old will arise. But every time you resist, you grow stronger. Every time you choose yourself, you honor your purpose. And every time you silence the world outside to listen to your soul, you remember who you are. Don't rush. Don't blame yourself. Just continue. Cut what drains. Nourish what strengthens. And stay faithful to the new frequency you are creating. Because it is in that frequency that the heavens will find you. And it is in that frequency that your mission will finally be fulfilled. Your journey will not be understood by everyone. Some will say you've changed. Others will try to make you feel selfish. But you owe no explanations to anyone. You owe loyalty to your light, to who you were becoming before you were interrupted by so much pain. And now that you are reclaiming the path, protect it as you would protect a miracle. Because that's what your life is, an expanding miracle. The entire universe is waiting for you to say, I choose myself. And when this choice is made, with the heart, the invisible reconfigures itself. What was prison breaks. What was shadow dissipates. And what was a parasite disappears. This message is a reminder that your light is rare, and for that reason, it is so coveted. But it will no longer be sucked. It will no longer be used. From now on, you live with awareness. You walk with intention. You choose wisely. And you protect firmly. Because the chosen one who awakens transforms everything around them, and their vibration, restored and strengthened, is the most powerful weapon against any presence that tries to extinguish them. You have won. And now, nothing will have access without your permission. And if this message has touched your spirit, write now in the comments, I am a divine source. And don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications. Because here, you receive not just content, but revelations that restore your soul. I want to immensely thank everyone who supports us through the Buy Me a Coffee link. Your support helps this message reach more lives and helps us improve the content on this channel. If you also want to become a supporter, our link is pinned in the first comment. Also, share this video with another chosen one who needs to cut the cords of spiritual draining. And if you want to continue your liberation, watch the video suggested on the screen and delve deeper into the Secrets of the Chosen playlist to strengthen your journey. You are just beginning on God's path, and now you no longer walk alone. Thank you for staying with us until the end, and may God bless you.